Every time you sign up for a new streaming service or use any app on your phone, you are agreeing to their terms of service whether you realize it or not. These documents are long, full of legal jargon, and difficult to understand. The Guardian estimates that reading an average American's digital contracts could take up to 250 hours a year. TLDR asks, how can we utilize AI technology to simplify these documents? And answers by offering a platform to enter the terms and receive an approachable summary generated by OpenAI's large language model. Our development team consists of Jason Kirchman, Jesus Borjas, Elle Majors, Hattie Matar, Connor Van Loan, Isaac Alter, Axel De La Guardia, and me, Chrissy Cooper. And now we'll hear from Jason with the app demonstration.
Thanks, Chrissy. When a user first visits our app, they're greeted with this login screen with our logo, a welcome message, and a disclaimer. The user can click the Begin Demo button to get started. Once on the next page, the user can choose from 3 predefined logins to move into the app. This brings us into the main page of the application, where a user can input a terms of service they want to process. This can be done in one of 3 ways. The user can find, copy, and paste the terms of service from a company website. The user can choose from a list of popular services, or the user can upload from a PDF file. When the terms of service is ready to go, the user can then select from target areas of concern. So for example, if I'm particularly concerned with privacy, security, copyright, and liability for this terms of service, I can check those 4 and hit process to get started. When the terms of service begins processing, we show this custom skeleton loading animation that changes dynamically based on selected areas of concern. ChatGPT's API can take a little bit to process, so we calculate the estimated wait time and display that to the user. When the processing completes, we'll move on to the results screen. On the left side, we have this selectable column of our areas of concern, and on the right side is the details box. The details box contains 3 key pieces of information for each area of concern: an overall consumer friendliness rating out of 10, a paragraph about how this impacts me, and another paragraph about actionable steps that can be taken from this terms of service. Additionally, we have used a combination of media queries and Flexbox to make TLDR fully responsive, which allowed us to support both desktop and mobile size screens. Now I'd like to pass it over to Axel to talk to you about our tech stack.
This is Axel, and I'll be going over the technologies we use to create TLDR. The front end was created using React with TypeScript, Cypress for end-to-end testing, and Lighthouse to test the app's accessibility. GitHub Actions for continuous integration and deployment, and Vercel for deployment. The backend was created using Python with Django, Postgres for our database, PyTest for testing, CircleCI for continuous integration and deployment, and it was deployed to an AWS EC2 instance. The biggest challenge of our application was figuring out how to get the large language model to read through multiple pages of content that comes in a standard terms of service. Our goal was to use ChatGPT, but found it impossible due to the character limits and high pricing of tokens. This answers the question of why we chose Python. We found that Python has a data framework called Llama Index, which gives us the tools needed to use ChatGPT to read through locally stored data instead of the classic request-response cycle with their API. Ultimately, when the TOS is received from the client side, it is temporarily stored in the backend application, which is then used along with a custom-made prompt to get the response in the format that we wanted.
Hello. As mentioned previously, my name is Isaac Alter, and I will be going over future features and what our team's workflow was like designing and developing TLDR. The major redesign that we would need moving forwards would be for logging into the application. Currently, as you saw, we only have a selection of our 3-seated users. The replacement would be a proper sign-in page for users to enter their username and password to access the application. We would need to alter our current database for this as well as implement proper authorization for users with varying permissions. We would also like to implement a feature for users to have a history of their prior terms of service inputs and outputs to review at their leisure. As for our workflow, we use Agile extensively, taking a week to solely design our product and determine what our needs were. With daily stand-ups, we would discuss any blocks team members had and where the product needed focus. We made a Google Sheets page to keep track of it all and decide our next steps if needed. Finally, I would be remiss not to thank both CJ and Abdul for their support and occasional guidance with TLDR. Thank you again.